Hey there, it's Brian. So we've got 4 fantastic narratives for you, and you're really going to want to stick around and be sure to comment. We would love to know what you think about these stories. Give us your advice. I mean, honestly, we need to know. I think you need a little background not to get lost on this first story, and I'll try to be brief on this. Now, my parents got divorced when my brother, who is now 36 and I'm now 34, were 5 years old and 3 years old. We lived with my mom at first since my dad thought it was the right thing to do and she wanted to move closer to her family. So let me just say it was a huge nightmare. She left us alone all the time and locked us in the house. She would scream at us constantly, blame us for destroying her marriage, and say that I particularly was to blame because I was a girl and took my dad away. She is a total narcissist, and we hated it there with my mom. She would use the alimony and child support for her charities, family, and friends, and we would live like almost in poverty because we didn't deserve it, she said. Now, the only time she put us in our best clothes was when we went to church to show how good of a mother she was. Then we went to live with my dad where he remarried and invited us to the wedding. I remember coming out of the plane and my dad being horrified at our clothes and our looks, and he decided never to send us back. We had visited him before, but when our mother knew he was going to remarry, she lost it completely and just neglected us even more. She had no way to fight him since she never truly worked, and he told her he would give her alimony if she didn't fight. Her family is also all about appearances and saw it as us being horrible kids for leaving her. We were 8 and 6. The next years, we got a lot of therapy, and our stepmom stood up to the challenge in raising 2 kids who were scared of so many things. We got the best education and living arrangements you could possibly imagine. We got along great with our stepfamily and became happy, involved kids. But to this day, my brother and I were very close. When I was 10, my mother had another daughter with someone we never knew, but the guy wanted nothing to do with them. She begged and cried to my dad to help her out since he owed her for giving him kids and taking them away. And my dad, the soft marshmallow he is, accepted, and I helped her out on the condition that she get a job, as he would stop sending her money when the mandatory alimony was over. Now, my stepmom agreed because she truly pitied her. We did visit our mom sometimes over the years, but it was not frequent at all. We didn't really want to, but our dad encouraged a little contact, though he never pushed us to do it. Now, my brother visited a bit more, but he never truly clicked with anybody there. Now, I visited 3 times from ages 10 to 18. Now I'm married and living far away from home. She was not even invited to any event in my life, and I haven't talked to her in about 10 years. But through my brother, I know that she has tried to get him to send her money, faked cancer, and tried to tell him she was sick. You know, all of that stuff. And I always thought he should go to no contact like I did, but he remains in low contact. Now, a month ago, my dad had a health scare, so we went to check on him. While we were in the hospital waiting room, she appeared with our half-sister, demanding to see my dad and to know if he would make it. Now, I simply turned away. She said that if he didn't make it, we needed to know how we would divide his assets. I didn't slap her because my brother contained me. She kept saying that my half-sister was his and that she would claim part of my dad's estates. Now, my brother explained to her that there was a will and that wouldn't happen. But she said she had the birth certificate to prove she was also his child. Well, the kicker is that my dad got a vasectomy as soon as he divorced her. And even further, we were not even in the country when she could have gotten pregnant. I asked her to leave and told her that if she kept it up, she would regret it. Long story short, she kept it going. I hired a lawyer and a researcher. She committed fraud by putting my dad's name on the birth certificate. DNA was involved, and the half-sister says I destroyed her life because she didn't need to know her mother was a liar. I pressed charges against her for harassment, made a complaint on my dad's behalf for the fraud, and also requested a no-contact order. Now, my brother thinks I went too far. He says he is disappointed that I let my anger win, and he's very cold towards me. Now, my stepdad, stepmother, and other relatives believe I did what I had to do to protect the family. My mother's family is harassing me, saying I will clearly go to hell for trying to damage my own mother. Now, since some of the charges will remain no matter if I retract my complaint or not, they are demanding I pay for her expenses since she lost her job over this and obviously has no savings. My brother, while cold, refuses to pay for her either. I wonder if he is right and I went too far. But more than anything, I wonder if by taking this action, I damage my relationship with my brother. It's better to have done it while your father is alive and can speak for himself than to wait until he passes and have to fight your mom over hearsay. So here's a comment from one of the readers. She showed her true intentions by showing up with demands during his health scare. So imagine the chaos she would have caused later if not put in check now. If your brother can't understand you're protecting your father when he couldn't protect himself, just as he protected him when he couldn't protect himself, then we're going to have to wait for him to thaw. Don't you pay 1 penny for your mother's greed. And where was all her family's righteousness when your mother was being abusive and neglectful? When your brother becomes a father, he'll learn the depths a father will go to protect his children. And if he's a good father, hopefully he will live long enough to see the depths of his children go through to return his love. You did the right and only thing to be done. So what do you think? I mean, after all, her husband left her and then her kids left her. So maybe she's got a right to act that way. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Well, let's jump right into this story number 2. Now, there's more of a request for advice than anything here. Here it is. I'm a 35-year-old male. I've been with my wife, she's 33, for the last 10 years, and we got married about 3 years ago. For the past 6 months, our sex life has been non-existent, mainly because I travel for work a couple times a month. When I'm home, I work long hours. I try my best to help with housework and spend time with my wife, but I just pass out the second I lie down. My energy level is depleted. My wife quit her job when we got married, so I can't take just a break from work. It was her choice, and I had no say in it. Now today she told me that she's pregnant. I was shocked because the last time we were bumping uglies was many months ago. So I joked, "You got pregnant from cuddling?" That's the closest we've had from doing the horizontal tango in a while. She kept insisting, "Don't you remember?" I told her I honestly didn't, and she said, "Well, we started making out and then you kind of passed out, so I just rode you." Oh well, and she giggled. I asked her while I was passed out. She said, "No, you were kind of awake. You had a big smile afterward." What's the big deal here? I told her that I would at least remember some of it. Come on. She got mad and asked if I was accusing her of dipping into the neighbor's cookie jar. Now I said no, but I'm just very confused. So am I wrong for thinking my wife might have cheated on me? I mean, I've been home on occasion, so my traveling hasn't been constant. So do I need a permission to get a paternity test? If she hasn't cheated, why don't I feel happy and joyful? I don't know I feel right about this. Okay, here's an update. I got a lot of messages asking for an update on this one. I'll be seeing a lawyer later this week, and then I can share more. I checked her phone, which I know I'm not proud of, and yes, she and my brother bonded over feeling like lonely spouses who were neglected by their partners. While I was away for my work trips, he would tell his wife he was working night shifts and would have sleepovers at our place. They both acknowledged how the arrangement felt both right and wrong, as neither of them wanted to leave their spouses but still enjoyed the physical and emotional aspects of their affair. Now, when I confronted her, she got angry about me going through her phone and said she felt violated. Honestly, I didn't know whether to cry or should I laugh. She insisted the baby is probably mine because we've been having quickies, according to her, and it happened more than once. When I was half asleep, and she said, "I only wanted your baby." I told her I don't believe a single word that she says now. I told her she needs to move out, and we'll figure out what to do after a paternity test. I also told her I'm canceling all her extracurricular activities because they're not my responsibility anymore. She said I'm financially abusing her, but to be honest, I really don't care. I told her I'd be coming to her next baby appointment because I need to talk to our family doctor. She's currently staying at her best friend's place right now. Today she messaged me saying she's spotting and blaming me for it, claiming I've stressed her out and increased her chances of a miscarriage. She said I'm a crappy father and an abusive spouse. Now, honestly, I'm not even sure if she's ever been pregnant. I asked if she needed a ride to the hospital or her friend's address so I could take her. She didn't even answer me. So here I am. I blocked my brother from everywhere. I don't have a brother anymore. So guys, were they right for having spouses that are constantly working and being away? What do you think? Share with a comment. Should he divorce her or maybe change his career? Next up, guys, this third story. My sister, she's 27 and I'm an 18-year-old female. We lost our dad about a year ago. He was my only parent. Mom was never in mine or my sister's life. Dad left money, some inheritance for me and my sister, and she used her inheritance to get a new car and renovate her house. I live with my aunt right now because my brother-in-law didn't let me stay with my sister. Now I'm planning on using my inheritance money to pay for college tuition, and I've always wanted to be a doctor, but I haven't decided what kind yet. Now my sister and I haven't been close. It started after she got married to her chronically ill husband, who was allowed to make backhanded comments about my dad and mocked his illness. And he even made a scene at my dad's funeral. Only because he's ill and shouldn't have been held accountable for his behavior, he says. I've distanced myself, but my sister kept visiting a lot lately, venting about my brother-in-law's condition. He's been in and out of the hospital for heart problems and in need for a surgery. She brought up my inheritance money several times, but I ended up cutting the conversation. She then straight up asked if I could pay for her husband's surgery and she'd pay me back in less than a year. I felt uneasy because if I gave her money from my inheritance, which is a large amount, then there's no guarantee that she'd pay me back before it's time for me to apply for college. I'm taking a year gap, but I know my sister can't pay me back that much, and I felt I was really risking my future. I refused to help, and she had a meltdown at my aunt's house, calling me heartless. She said I was cruel with no empathy. She said that her husband's health should be a priority and needed to help because education is nothing compared to someone's health, and asked if I'd be happy to see her as a widow and my nephew with no father. My aunt suggested others pay, but most of them cut my sister and her husband off years ago. I argued that her husband's poor health really isn't my fault after she kept blaming and guilt-tripping me. She kept crying, and although my aunt decided to stay out of it, she said that I should be prepared for permanent damage in my relationship with my sister if I don't help her now. She's been sending texts and pictures of her family, telling me this is what I was saying no to: a happy, healthy family with a healthy husband and father. I cried and felt like I was being selfish and not a good aunt and not a good sister. Now, I asked my friend, and he said let them sell their cars and all the luxurious stuff that they had bought with their inheritance to afford the surgery, and warned me if I give my sister money, I'll probably never get it back and may not be able to go to medical school. What do you think, guys? Should I give my sister the money for her husband's health? I may not ever be able to go to medical school. Let me know your thoughts. This next story up is number 4. This is Brian, and we're going to continue. It's a good one. My aunt and uncle are paying for my cousin's college. My dad had a college fund for me set aside, but he had so many stipulations, like he wanted nothing below a B for grades, and to pre-approve any class that I take, weekly meetings to discuss grades, and just a big list of other stuff, which would be fine if I had a normal dad, but I tell you, mine isn't. My dad has a temper, and I spent 6th to 12th grade stressed out about my grades and being screamed at and even grounded over things that frankly sometimes weren't even my fault, like a teacher not updating online grading and an assignment being marked missing because of it, and getting my backpack and locker randomly searched by him for no reason except he wants to make sure I'm not hiding anything. Now, I decided to pay for school myself because, number 1, not being stressed over getting screamed at, and number 2, I didn't feel like constantly worrying that he'd disapprove of a class or a grade and then decide not to pay, which I could totally see him doing. Now, I'd rather be in debt than controlled for 4 years. I just finished my first year. Our family got together on the 4th of July. Well, sometimes they're nosy. They were talking about my cousin's school, and my uncle looked at my dad and said, well, how much is, he said the name of my school, costing you? And I spoke up and said, what? Why are you asking him? Because I'm the one paying for it. Well, later on, my dad was mad and said that I was out of line to say that and that I embarrassed him. I didn't do it to embarrass him. I was just being honest. He doesn't even know how much tuition is, so he was the wrong person to ask. So am I in the wrong? Should I have accepted my dad's money? Hey guys, that's the end of this one. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, and turn on the notification bell for more amazing videos. We've got more narratives coming up. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks for listening.